Right, hello everyone. Just doing another update video. So this time I've got the radiator out and the fan blade off. Replaced these two pulleys and the tensioner pulley because it's making a hell of a squeak. So I don't know if that's what was caused. Actually, it wasn't a squeak; it was more of a grind sound. But hopefully that's what it was when I started up. Typically, I had to start when I'd fixed everything, the pump, and put it all back together. Couldn't have just waited before, so I'd known about it. But anyway, radiator as well. So there's the old one, it's the new one. There's a crack in the pipe. I don't know if I point out there, you can see, just see it. So that's been letting coolant through. So I've been advised on the forum that if I didn't change it, it could potentially crack off and end up running into the coolant system, which could then blow your head gasket. Always. So I'm going to be plugging that one in today. And what was the other thing? Oh yes, once I got the fuel pump in, I took it to MOT, which it passed. But you do need to time the pump up, and that's got to do with the modulation. So you will, for me, I had to look it up. I borrowed my brother's nanocom. So if you've got one of those or equivalent that can read the P38 computer, I got the tip off someone called Data Tech on the Landy Zone forums. A very nice man. If you're ever on the Landy Zone forum, look him up. If you've got any queries, he'll help you out, and he'll send the information you need to do for the modulation of your pump to time it all up. So you'll need to take the inlet manifold off, loosen up the inlet, the injector to pipe unions. Loosen them all off. You don't have to take them off, but loosen them off. Loosen the two wing nuts on the flanges of your pump, and don't forget the nut at the back. And then you want to mark off on the top of the pump, in the very middle, where I don't think I can get it from here, where the return line goes in. Yeah, I think you can see I've put a little mark with a pen on. And then you'll need a ruler, preferably inches. I use inches. And then I think you sit it on the ledge. Once you've got the inlet manifold off, there's a ledge on the bottom you can sit it on I think it's on the second inlet, and you rest the ruler across from the top of the fuel pump onto the inlet where you've marked the line. You mark off, so it'll be about 7 inches and then about 16ths of an inch, and you want to go in 16ths of an inch. And so the modulation for mine, I think, was at 80. You've got to get your engine up to 95 degrees Celsius. Make sure you read that on the nanocom. And then once you've got it up to 95 degrees Celsius, that should be the running temperature. You want to make a note of the modulation reading on the nanocom. And then from there, you need to write that down. And then, obviously, I think you take your measurement of where your pump's sitting at. And from there, if it's over, so mine was 80% modulation, you need to turn the pump anti-clockwise towards the engine to lower it down to 50%. 50% is where you need the modulation at. If your modulation is under 50%, you need to turn it clockwise. So, and then keep marking it off and looking at your nanocom. So you'll have to let the engine cool down, and then you'll have to rotate the pump. Remember to lock the two flange nuts off just to secure it while you're working on the modulation. So say if mine was over to 80, I rotated it anti-clockwise and noted down the measurement from the inlet manifold on the ruler to the top of the fuel pump, and then start the car up, and then got 95 degrees, and then looked at the modulation. And I was third time lucky, just by chance. I turned it as far as I could. In fact, the fuel lines were stopping us, and I went and looked up, got up to 95 degrees and looked at the modulation. It was about 49 to 51. It was bang on. You will get some variation. It doesn't have to be bang on, like it can be a couple of numbers over or under, but I was just fortunate enough to get mine spot on. So I thought I'd tell you that first. I'll put it in the title of this video, so if people are wondering, they can look that up. But I'll also put up the information on the radiators as well. It's just fairly simple, the radiators. There's two guides, at least there was two guides. Actually, I think they're sitting on the plastic there. I'll show you. These little clips, and there's two little pegs at the bottom, sit on these two locating holes. I'm missing a rubber bung actually on one of them, so that would stop vibrations. And there's two bolts as well go at the bottom, but I don't think anyone actually bothers putting them in. I've certainly never had any vibration when I've been driving around from the radiator, and those top clips slide into there. Obviously, I forgot last time to put a bit of copper slip on there, because it's sometimes a nightmare to get the fan back off once it's ceased itself on when the heat hot and cold. So copper slip will help with that. The threads are counter rotated to the engine, so it won't come off, it won't undo itself. And I think, yeah, it's just a case of putting this back in. I'll have to fill it up the header tank again and fill the new radiator up, but I think that's where we're at for the moment. I don't think there's anything else to tell you. Fingers crossed that cures the noise, those pulleys. So, knowing my luck, it won't. But there we go. Cheers for listening. Bye.